We are back in the garage. We got the Subaru behind me, and today we're gonna do a little review on my wrap job that I did about 2 years ago. We'll check out all the corners, all the aging spots, and show you exactly the status of the wrap 2 years later. So if any of you guys are wondering, can a beginner wrapper, wrap a car and make it last? Well, this is gonna be that video to show you my skills and the way it turned out and the way it's holding up. I'm just gonna basically walk around the car and show you all the imperfections, show you areas that I should have maybe post-heated more, areas where I should have cleaned the wrap more often before it was stained. Just little things that I never thought about. It's a lot different than paint. You want to get whatever debris, bird poop, anything that's on the wrap, you want to get it off as soon as possible, or else you can get stains on the wrap. You will see shortly that is the case for me. It's just a gloss gray wrap, so it's gonna show a lot of imperfections or a lot of stains just because it's a little lighter than most. Anyways, it's definitely a trial run, definitely, some things to learn. So here we go, we're gonna start making our way around the car, and I'm just gonna point out any imperfections or any areas that are of concern to let you guys know how it's holding up after 2 years. Obviously I did not do the front bumper, so I guess it's kind of cheating because maybe I would have more imperfections in this area. So minus the front bumper, I'm gonna show you everything else that I wrapped on the car and just show you firsthand how it's holding up. Maybe you guys can take what I've learned from this and maybe apply it to your job if you ever decide to wrap your own car. So I guess we can start with the hood. Keep in mind the wrap isn't freshly cleaned or anything. It's basically a week old, just sitting outside. So it definitely is still shiny. There are little scratches, here and there. Sometimes when I wasn't careful when I was washing it. But overall, it's holding up pretty well on this hood part. It looks like there's a little bit of oxidation appearing on my carbon fiber hood scoop. Well, that's besides the point, the wrap. One day maybe I'll wrap the hood scoop. But other than that, the hood is still holding up very nicely. If you look really close, it's almost like water spots, little specks throughout. It's definitely not too bad, but it's something that you notice. These little divots, these little craters, and they're not rock chips. They're just little tiny spots, little specks in the wrap. I don't know if that could have been prevented, or is that just wearing, the wrap's getting old. I think they guarantee like 3 to 5 years possibly, depending on upkeep. So this is a 2-year update, so I guess you can kind of do the math and see how bad it will deteriorate over the next couple years. Front grille pieces looking good. Nothing really there, no peel ups. I'm really happy about that. I have a whole process, a whole playlist on the wrapping of this car from start to finish, so if you guys are interested to check it out, I have a little series of videos. So this is the first part of the car that I wrapped. Yeah, this is a little mistake, little oopsie. I cut the wrap a little too thin there, and now you can see the paint underneath. I still haven't addressed that at all. To this day, I'm still rocking it. There's a little bit of overspray here on from a previous paint job, I'm assuming. It's just part of the little weather stripping that goes around the trim part. Besides that, the roof wrap is holding up. Again, you have these little specks. You can see them very clearly. Here's my little scuff mark. You guys can see that. See this scuff here? See that? That is from when my hood scoop flew off. My old hood scoop flew off, and I went bye-bye and got destroyed on the road. I made a video on that as well. So yeah, it was pretty tragic. So it obviously happened right after I wrapped the roof. And now I'm stuck with this little scuff. Obviously, I could have rewrapped this part, but it really is not that big of a deal to me. So I'm still rocking it. So that's what that's from. That's not from, poor wrap upkeep. That is just me being irresponsible and not bolting down my hood scoop before going to get some food down the road. Anyways, moving on. Mirrors are holding up nicely. Nothing coming up. Nothing, no edges, no concerns here. Everything seems pretty solid on this. Let's move on to the fender. No obvious peel ups or anything. Everything's looking pretty solid on the fenders. Still very satisfied with that. Same with this side. Take a look at this pillar here all the way around. It's part of the quarter panel. Some paint work that I did on here. Did some prep also on some videos on the entire playlist I did. And the most problematic area that's kind of an eyesore at this point, it's still the quarter panel right here. It's still a little damaged. You can see a little bit of dent going on a little difficult to see, but obviously a dent here, a little dent here. And as you guys probably know, this is when I kind of laid my bike over. I was on my Harley backing it out of the garage. It was just a little freak accident and kind of fell over and broke the fall between the Harley and the car with my helmet and my shoulder. So it does look about 80% better before I did, you know, anything to it. So that's definitely still obvious under the wrap. This is a weird bubble thing. Can you see this bubble? Like, it's not a bubble because it's not, there's nothing under it. It's just like a buildup of material or a buildup of something that I did not notice when I was prepping. You can see that I kind of took my fingernail and was like, what is this thing? Trying to pop it, but it's not going anywhere. So that's hanging out. That's around there. That's part of some of the imperfections. This is 100% my fault. This is from poor being just careless, I guess. At my job, I work with a lot of oils and coolants and whatnot. It's a machine shop. So when I'm not careful, I still have oil or chemicals or something, you know, on my shoulder, on my arm, somewhere on my skin. You can see that this is where I kind of push off of when I get out of my car. And yeah, that's what I'm left with now, is a nice little blemish there. You can kind of see it here starting on my door handle from opening the car. So again, things that I never considered, I never, you know, thought I would have to worry about. But obviously my wrap is not liking the chemicals on there, and you can see the layers of the wrap. I guess it maybe starts out brown before they, you know, get it to the other color. I'm not really sure how the manufacturing process goes. But yeah, again, that's 100% my fault, not necessarily, you know, the wrap holding up or not, but clearly doesn't like oils or chemicals on it. Yeah, so that damage has been done. Nothing I can do about that other than rewrap the doors, which I could down the road. You know, I probably won't, but, you know, living and learning. And what else? Side skirts. Let's check out the side skirts. Side skirts are still holding up. Maybe a little bit of marking here from, you know, my boots or whatever. But no peel ups. Everything's holding, sticking. It's definitely well worth it when you do a nice post-heat process, so you don't have to deal with anything peeling up. But on the other side, on the gas tank side, I'll show you a little bit of peeling up. Speaking of peeling up. So here's my gas cap, my gas flap. Everything looks pretty good around here. And obviously this is part of the whole quarter panel piece. It starts from the back of the car all the way down the pillar, basically to the mirror there. So it's one continuous piece, and you can see that this corner has been kind of peeling up over the years. It's not obvious, you know, when it's closed and everything still looks good. Every time I'm filling up the car, I notice it and I'm like, oh man, that looks pretty bad. So again, I overstretched the wrap or just didn't post-heat it enough, and the adhesive didn't stick down, and this is what I'm left with. Just a little bit of peel up. Same with up here, maybe a little too much stretch. And I mean, that's real minor compared to how bad it could have been. So other than this area, everything's holding up pretty flawless. Okay, one more spot that I know of is going to be, actually, it's going to be on my newly wrapped trunk. I did rewrap my trunk recently because the first time I just destroyed it and just completely ruined it, so I had to rewrap it eventually. So rewrap the trunk. From the outside, everything looks good visually, you know, looking out. First impressions, you know, it looks perfect. And again, it's just little areas that no one's really gonna see unless you have your trunk popped. But clearly I didn't either clean the area enough or I didn't post heat enough and the adhesive didn't do its job, and it is pulling up a little bit. A little bit of peel up there. But you can't see it from the outside. I tried to go in and post heat again, but I mean, after so much time, you can't really go back and post heat. I think there's a window of post heating, and I was way past that window. So a little area there. Again, not a big deal. Stupid little things I wanted to point out. That way you guys don't make the same mistakes I did. There was one more little area on the bumper. Right about... It's very hard to see, but There's a couple little fingers coming in right here. Overstretched it, maybe not post-heated properly. A little wrinkle there, very minor. A little bit there. A couple little areas on the bumper. But again, something that is very unnoticeable. And only I would notice something like that. So, I guess that's it. I mean, overall, I'm pretty impressed with the whole wrap job and, you know, not knowing anything to actually having a fully wrapped car that you did yourself is pretty accomplishing. I'll link the videos on a playlist or in the description. Any tools or any, you know, material that I used, I'll try to link it down below. So if you guys are interested in wrapping your own car, I kind of wanted to show the entire process. And not only did it look good the day after, you know, I was done wrapping it, it also looks good 2 years later. You know, obviously minus the little imperfections that I caused myself. Just simple things that could have been prevented, and now, you know, I'm left with a little bit of blemishes here and there, but, you know, learn from my mistakes and just be careful. It all really depends on the quality and, you know, the wrap, brand, manufacturer, whatnot, but Avery Dennison really holds up. This is the 2-year test of basically somewhat good, poor upkeep. You know, I could have done a little better, but this is what I'm left with, and it's still definitely a decent wrap, a decent car. It still looks very good, in my opinion. So, there you have it. There's my wrapped, fully wrapped, minus the bumper, of course, little Subaru project that I did. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments. And I guess I will see you on the next video. I hope I included everything. That's really it. That's all the issues that I came across over the past 2 years after wrapping my car. Anyways, alright guys, take it easy. Thanks for checking out the video. Let me know down in the comments your process, your experience with wrapping, or if you are too scared to try this, I don't know. Alright guys, take it easy. We'll see you on the next one. Later.